Hello everyone, it is week ward 9 and I worked I think a little over 10 hours this past week at Buckle. This week was really cool because we completely changed the store's layout. So the week before I talked about how we were changing just a little bit of the guys' sides. We put some sweaters, we changed the hat wall, we changed the shoe wall, and that was kind of just not a seasonal decision, but more of just a regular decision for like the guys' side. It really didn't have anything to do with the season yet, except like the sweaters in the front and bringing out more of like the thicker clothing to the front. So that was more seasonal, but a little bit was just, it was time for a refresh for some of the things because it was a little hard to navigate. The hat wall was a little hidden. The shoe rack it just needed a refresh. It wasn't bad, it was just, it needed to be more collective, if that makes sense. But for the girls' side, it was completely redone. So the whole last week was just, everything had changed, and that makes it very difficult to navigate, especially when you have to constantly help people and people are always asking you like, where is this, like where do I get this, and you have to relearn it yourself too, because I had everything in my head for so long. I was learning where everything was, and so I knew where it all was, and then it completely got changed. So that's a really cool part of, I guess, working in retail, is not everything's going to be in the same spot the whole time, and you have to be able to pick up quickly and navigate the store quickly before a customer comes in and they're like, hey, where's this? And you're like, I don't know, I mean, that's not a good look for us. That's not a good look for you. And so having to pick that up quicker, I feel like is really valuable, having that skill or practicing that skill. But actually last week was super fun because I got to work with some of my friends that I never really get to work with. There's a girl on the dance team and that I've never worked with, Kendall, who actually told me about Buckle, and I asked her and I was like, should I do my internship here, blah, because she has worked there for a little while, I think a little more over than a year. And me and Kendall are very close friends. We hang out, we go to date parties, we do a bunch of stuff together. She's a dancer, so I'm always seeing her everywhere I go. So it was really cool because it made the time go by so much quicker. So I learned that this week is, if you work with somebody that you enjoy outside of work, it's gonna go by faster because you're gonna have more fun. So that was really cool, and she helped me, and she kind of gave me her take on it, which was more, I honestly understood her more when she was trying to explain stuff to me than I did other people. I don't know if we have the same jargon, the same lingo. I think it was like the same vibe. I don't really know how to explain it, but it was just so much more fun that working with her than it has been like throughout this whole process. And now I enjoy everyone there. I'm not hating on anyone. I love every single person that works there. It's one of the healthiest work environments I've ever worked in. They're super understanding, great people. But it was just really cool to work with somebody that I had already known for years before this, and to kind of just chat with her and while we worked and help, and kind of tag team the Buckle store. So it was really fun. So with this week's activities, a lot of it was just basically the same exact stuff that I've always done, except I had to get a retour because it had completely got changed. So Chelsea, one of my managers, took me and retoured me through the entire store just so that I can help navigate it better. So I took a minute to kind of lock that in and understand where everything is, and I still don't fully have it because it's just so hard because it's like everything's gutted. They also, the week before that, when they told me that they were going to change the girls' side, I said I think Affliction should go next to something that's not really soft and very like Free People. Soft, girly, very like whimsy, very, I can't find the word, but Affliction, just the opposite of Affliction. Affliction is like the early 2000s, eyebrow piercing, black makeup, pale, that vibe. And it was next to the exact opposite girl, and I think it just stuck out really bad. And so I mentioned that we should put it next to more of like the neon girl, the colorful girl, the girl that likes to go out, the cute tops, that vibe. And or just like the graphic tees should go next to Affliction because it kind of like blends better. Now Affliction is obviously going to still stand out because it's Affliction, and if you know, you know. And but it just looks so much better. Like I was saying, I think Affliction looks so much better next to that brand rather than the other brand. I'm happy they took my advice on that. I thought I did really well this week. I've definitely found a groove within the job. I am really, really happy about that, and I feel very confident now with it at Buckle. But there's always more to learn, and that's something that I've completely realized, that you never stop learning. I mean, I could be there for 8 years and I'm still gonna be learning. Or 8 years is crazy, but 3 or 4 or 5 years and I'm still gonna learn. The new skills that I learned was an experience is you should not get comfortable with placement of items in stores. You need to be comfortable with stuff moving around and having to relearn that and very quickly, so you're able to navigate and help someone correctly. So that is a new skill that I have definitely understood and did not understand before working in retail. The questions I plan to ask next week, I would say, is what's their tactics with finding stuff? Like going back to the changing of stuff, how do you get it locked in so quickly? Because I'm struggling a little bit with, because I feel like I just learned where everything was, and now everything where I learned where it was is no longer there. I feel like their answer is going to be, you just need to work here long enough, you just need to see the change long enough, and I plan on continually working at Buckle even after my internship is over. So I'm very excited to stay with the company until graduation, and I think it's a great company to work for. I completely doubted Buckle before this, and I completely doubted my growth and experience there. I did not realize how well and how much I was actually going to learn. So it has been an awesome experience. Still more to go, but yeah, I would say I would just ask people what they do. What are the little tricks and tips that they could give me about navigating a store better? So yeah, that's my week 9, and I hope you guys have a great another week.